Welcome to This Explainer. Look, it's May 2024, and today we're diving into the absolute best, most up-to-date PTE strategies out there. We're going to completely demystify the Write From Dictation module. You already know this is one of the most high-stakes sections of the entire test, right? And honestly, there's just so much misinformation floating around about how to tackle it. But today, we're cutting through the noise. We're breaking it down step by step using proven strategies to absolutely maximize your score. So let's start by tackling the biggest myth right out of the gate. Is dictation really just about memory? Well, if you're walking into the test center thinking you just need a photographic memory for audio, you're falling into a massive trap. Rote memorization actually sets you up to fail. Seriously. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why that is, and more importantly, what you actually need to be doing instead. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll quickly hit 1. The core listening skill. 2. Upgrading your working memory. 3. Divide, conquer, and expand. 4. The extra words hack. And 5. Crucial test day warnings. All right, jumping right into Section 1, the core listening skill. There's a very specific reason this task lives in the listening section. It's not a typing test, guys. It's an assessment of your auditory processing. If you don't interpret the English meaning and you just try to memorize raw, isolated sounds, your working memory is literally going to fill up and crash after 5 or 6 words. You hit a wall. But when you actively listen and process the meaning, when you actually interpret the language, you unlock this amazing ability to retain much longer sentences. It's all about comprehension. You can't just act like a human tape recorder. To put that into perspective, think about the number 40. This single module can contribute upwards of 40+ marks to your writing score alone. That is massive. It totally proves why processing the language matters so much. Because look, if your listening skills are weak, your writing score is going to tank, no matter how lightning fast you can type. Moving right along to Section 2, upgrading your working memory. Since you have to listen and write at the exact same time here, we actually have to train the brain to handle these simultaneous skills without freezing up. It's like a mental workout. You need a daily brain training regimen. First, spend about 10 to 15 minutes a day on dual and-back games. These are proven exercises that force your brain to juggle auditory and visual information at the same time. Second, do some visual text flash training. And third, soak in 15 to 20 minutes of diverse English podcasts every single day. That last one is absolutely vital for decoding tricky, unfamiliar accents way before you ever sit for the exam. Now, let's talk a bit more about that visual memory training. This is a scientific exercise where a short text flashes on your screen for maybe 3, 5, or 7 seconds, and then you have to immediately speak or type it back. It's brilliant. It shows exactly how you can practice visualization and interpretation under strict time pressure. You aren't just listening, you're training your brain to grab a chunk of meaning in a split second and hold on to it. Hey, real quick before we get into the heavy execution hacks, I want to make sure you've got the support you need. Need help? For free class or to evaluate your scorecard, DM or message me on WhatsApp on +614 293 849, link in bio. Get that evaluation and let's make sure you're totally on track. Okay, back to it. Section 3, divide, conquer, and expand. This is the execution phase. This is the exact tactical approach you need to take the very second that audio starts playing in your headset. Whatever you do, do not try to write out every single word perfectly as it's being spoken. Instead, use these 3 steps. Step 1, listen and write in short notes. Step 2, expand those short notes into full words the moment the audio stops. And Step 3, add extra words to account for any errors. This completely shifts the burden. You don't have to perfectly remember everything at once anymore. Let's actually slow down and look at how this works in practice. Imagine you get a really daunting 13-word sentence. If you try to swallow that whole, you're gonna choke. But what if we break it down into 5 logical chunks? Phrase 1, environmental protection. Phrase 2, requires collective responsibilities. Phrase 3, from governments. Phrase 4, communities. Phrase 5, and individuals. When you mentally slice the audio into meaning-based phrases like this, what felt impossible suddenly becomes totally manageable. But I gotta warn you about a very common trap right here. A lot of test takers try to just jot down the first letter of every word. They write EPRCR. But then during the expansion step, they look at their notes and think, what on earth do these letters mean? It's super confusing. Instead, write short, meaningful notes. E and P for environmental protection. RQ for requires. This is so much easier to expand because you've actually captured the core sound and the meaning, not just random letters. And that leads us perfectly into Section 4, the extra words hack.
This is a highly anticipated strategy, and we are going to bust a massive rumor right now. You've probably heard people say you lose marks for adding extra words. No way! That is entirely false. The module awards marks based on the number of correct words that match. Let me be crystal clear. Adding extra words does not penalize you. The software is just scanning for correct matches. It's not sitting there subtracting points just because you threw in a couple of safety variations.
Think about it. If you only write what you thought you heard, let's say require, but the audio actually said requires with an S, well, you just lost the point. The winning strategy is to add variations just to be safe. You type out require, requires, required, and hey, maybe throw in missing articles like the or a few times. By doing this, you're practically guaranteeing you'll capture the right variation and secure those points.
But keep this formula in mind. High scores equal good listening skills plus strategy plus extra words. Notice how extra words are all the way at the end of that equation? Yeah, just spamming extra words won't magically hand you a 90. It only works as a boost to your strong foundational listening and your short note agility. It's an enhancer, not a miracle cure. All right, let's wrap this up with Section 5, Crucial Test Day Warnings.
Because look, all the strategy in the world won't help if you fall into a structural trap on exam day. 12 to 15. That is the minimum number of marks you'll bleed across both your listening and writing scores if you panic and mess up just one tricky dictation question. If a weird accent throws you off and you just freeze up and give up, boom, you're throwing away 12 to 15 marks.
So please follow these survival rules. First, just expect that 1 out of the 3 or 4 questions is going to be exceptionally long or difficult. Go in mentally prepared for it. Second, do not assume you failed if one accent is tricky. Just stay calm, lean on your short notes, and use your extra words hack. And third, and this is literally the most disastrous mistake you can make, you absolutely must click submit on that final dictation before your 30-minute listening timer expires. If you just sit there and let the clock run out on the last question, you will lose those points. We've seen massive score drops from this. Click submit. So what does this all mean for you? Will you just rely on your memory and hope for the best? Or will you actually train your brain to truly listen, process, and conquer? You've got the blueprint now. Stop memorizing, start interpreting, and use these smart structural hacks to secure those 40+ points. Apply this stuff, protect your timer, and go absolutely crush your next PTE score. Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer.